Hello, dears. In today's class, we'll be going to discuss something about films, the history about films. The emergence of film as a medium in the late 19th century was indeed a transformative development in the world of visual communication and entertainment. This is because until then, films were not much developed, or rather camera was the only thing that was much prominent in that during the period. And during the late 19th century the film emerged, the medium of film emerged, and it gradually developed into a much significant area. And here you're given some additional context and information about the early days of cinema. The first one, photography and its influence on films. Photography was a crucial precursor to the development of film. The ability to capture still images through photography laid the foundation for the concept of capturing and projecting moving images. Until then, or up to this period, we had seen only still photography, that is, only photographs were there, and gradually it developed into projecting moving images, and which gradually formed the development of films. Innovations in photography, including the use of celluloid film, contributed to the development of early motion pictures. So, from still images, it gradually developed into early motion pictures. That is the first influence, that is photography and its influence on cinema. The second one, the most important thing you'll have to remember are these names, Auguste and Louis Lumiere. That is Lumiere brothers. They are together known as Lumiere brothers. They often referred to as the Lumiere brothers. They played a significant role in the history of cinema. They patented a camera in 1895 that could both capture and project films. So this was indeed a turning point in the history of cinema. Their first film, Workers Leaving the Lumiere Factory, was created using this camera and was screened in 1895. It depicted everyday life and marked the birth of cinema. So, this film can be considered as the beginning of cinema. The third influence, or the third factor, is early film screenings. As we all know, in the earlier times, it was quite difficult to develop film screenings, or the process was kind of difficult. The Lumiere brothers' short films, such as The Arrival of a Train at Last Ciotat, Baby Dinner, and Water Watered, was screened in various parts of France. These films were brief. They couldn't shoot long films, lengthy films were not shot, and these films were brief, typically lasting only a couple of minutes because the duration was much less due to the unavailability of the technical aspects. But they were a novelty and drew large audiences eager to experience moving pictures for the first time. So they did not capture films as we see nowadays. It was not such lengthy films, it was short. That is, the duration might only be a couple of minutes, but still it drew large audiences because it was for the first time they were seeing or they are experiencing moving pictures. The next one is a global expansion of cinema. So from the start, we saw Lumiere brothers, and then gradually a global expansion of cinema happened. The Lumiere brothers were pioneers in taking their films to different parts of the world. In 1896, they embarked on a worldwide tour to exhibit the short films in countries including Europe, the United States, India, Japan, Egypt, and Australia. So they were the first people who embarked on this tour to exhibit their short films in different countries across the world. And this tour has helped introduce cinema to a global audience. So it gradually, the development of films has happened. And coming to cinema in India, as mentioned, the Lumiere brothers showcased cinema in India in 1896, 6 months after its debut in Paris. So the debut of this showcasing of cinema was in Paris, but later on in 1896 they showcased cinema in India. And the first screening took place at Watson's Hotel in Mumbai, marking the beginning of cinema in India. This event was a milestone in the history of Indian cinema, which later developed into a thriving industry producing films in multiple languages. So, this is what we have to know while discussing cinema in India. This is not only the thing while we have to learn about cinema in India, there is much more which we'll discuss in the later classes. And the Lumiere brothers' contribution to the early development of cinema is significant, and their films, as well as those of their pioneers, laid the groundwork for the evolution of this medium throughout the 20th century and beyond. So, the contribution of the Lumiere brothers is very much significant in the development of cinema, and film has since become a powerful form of artistic expression, as we know nowadays, and its storytelling and entertainment, shaping popular culture and influencing society in various ways. As we know, in the contemporary society, the role of cinema is very much important, and this all began from the contribution of the Lumiere brothers. And here are three terms which you will have to remember while studying this, the introduction of films or the beginning of films. The first one is kinetograph, that is the moving camera, which was invented in 1891 by William K.L. Dixon. And kinetoscope is a motion picture projector, which is invented in 1893 by Thomas Alva Edison. There is yet another term, cinematograph, which is a combination camera, film developer, and projector. And this was invented in 1895 by the Lumiere brothers, Auguste and Louis Lumiere. That is, these people, the Lumiere brothers, were the people to invent the cinematograph. There are much more terms related to films and cinematography and everything, but these three terms are very much important regarding the films and also during the birth of the film. While discussing the birth of the films, these three terms cannot be neglected. So these are the things we are going to discuss in today's class about the introduction or the birth of films. So thank you.